Okay, just testing 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3. Okay. Right. Elissa,
Yeah.
what were you thinking about when I came up? You had a book in your hand.
Mm-hmm.
You had headphones on too.
Yep.
So what was going on?
So I've just come to the park to read. I think I'm trying to be more intentional at the moment with going out and just like having a think. I think sometimes London can be really, really quick and really fast paced, and I can find myself going weeks on end without really like having a think about how I'm doing. So I live quite close by this park, which is really nice. I moved here earlier this year, and I love being near a big park, which I think everyone in London does. So that's nice.
What is the for the being intentional thing?
Mm-hmm.
First of all, what made you first start thinking about that? Because generally, it comes at a certain point in life when you need it.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you remember how you started thinking? Okay, intentional is a thing that I can be.
I think actually very, very recently. So I have recently started going to therapy, which is a new thing. It's not really a new thing. I tried to go earlier this year, but I think, and I'm very new to therapy, but I think one thing they say is you need to find someone that you click with, that you respect, and you want to hear their opinion, and I didn't find that earlier this year, but I tried again recently and found a woman that I think I quite like, but I've only been with her a couple sessions, but she seems really intuitive. She seems intuitive to how I'm feeling, which I think is the point. So that is very new. I had my first long session with her this Monday, actually. So I think because of that, I'm trying to be just a bit more reflective.
It's nice.
Yeah.
And also, it's really nice that you're giving yourself the space to think about it. I know exactly what you mean about clicking with the therapist.
Yeah.
Because it's not like going to the doctor or going to the dentist.
No.
If you think the therapist is not on your wavelength, I've had therapy, and and the first person I had it with, I was like, fine.
Yeah.
But it's not. We're not really going anywhere.
Yeah, and it's such a bizarre relationship. Like, it's the most alien thing I've ever put myself in. Like, it's so bizarre to sit there and talk to someone that you don't really know. And yeah, I tried a couple earlier this year, and I got told by people like, just find the person that's right for you. And I had two people. One was one person I really did not like, and
oh really?
Yeah.
It was that strong.
It was. Sounds really awful as well. I feel like I shouldn't be saying it out loud, but maybe I'll regret this. They were. I think I'll preface this with that they were really lovely, and I think they were a good therapist. But I think it's just they weren't right for me, which I think is right for everyone. It was they weren't right for me, and I think there needs to be like some form of respect you need to have for them as people. I think a lot of therapy is just exploring things you might already know, but hearing it from someone else, I think you take it on board more.
I think if you go over to the therapist side, it's their profession, and it must be difficult for them to find that connection with everyone, and it must be hard for them to professionally say or I mean, also it's expensive.
It's so,
you try one person, you're like, well, that's 60 quid down the drain, or whatever it is.
It's weird, isn't it? I wonder if there's ever been a relationship where the therapist had been like, you're not right for me, kind of thing. Because I was wondering that when I was there with the second person. I was like, I don't think we're clicking, but my like insecurity was that you would just be here if I'm paying you. But I wonder if there's ever been a situation where a therapist has been like, I can't help you. I don't know.
I'm assuming, or I'm hoping that's part of their training. It's like sometimes you have to just call a halt and go, this is not for us.
Yeah.
And there's no point in you coming to me because I can't give you what you need.
Yeah.
So, to compare notes, I spent most of my life going, therapy's not for me.
Yeah.
And then at a certain point in my life, I had a breakup, and then I needed the therapy, and it was a bit of a revelation, and I got it. And it worked, and it did some improvement for me.
Yeah.
For you yourself, what was it that made you first think of therapy, really and then actually take you to the therapy? Because thinking about it is one thing, and actually doing it is another.
Very much so. That's really interesting. You mentioned that about what triggered yours. I think I've actually thought it would be helpful for a while. I had like counsellors during uni, but they were very much like, have you considered going on a walk kind of vibe counsellors, which I was like, thank you for that. Yeah. Not that helpful right now. So I had that in the past, and then actually interesting. So I went through a breakup last year, and then I tried therapy start of this year, thinking kind of maybe that I think it was the breakup which was like pushed me into the like trying it as well. However, maybe differently from you, I tried it at that point, and I think it was too volatile a time for me to get anything helpful out of it. And I found it interesting now that I'm actually doing a lot better than I was earlier this year. There's still things, like underlying things I want to work on, I think that would improve my life. But interestingly, I didn't find it helpful soon after the breakup, but now I'm like much better. I think I'm like emotionally stable enough to work on those things. Early this year, I think I was just concentrating on like the short-term problems, and the stress is what was right then, which was the emotion of going through a breakup. So it didn't help me. I don't know.
Well done you for getting to getting through that maelstrom and the turbulence, because I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
When you're in the storm,
yeah,
it's not the right time.
It doesn't feel like it, and that's the hard thing, because surely that's the time you need it most. I felt like if I'd gone to therapy before, I would have had the tools to deal with the emotions that I was going through, which was all of them. So I think,
I see. So if you preempted it almost.
Maybe. I feel like the reason the motivation is now is that I feel like I want to, there's underlying things about my life that I'd love to work on that would make me, I think, happier. But also I think it showed me that it'd be nice life is unpredictable. You can't predict when these really emotional times are going to come. You can never predict loss, for example. And I'd like to be better equipped to deal with that. And I think, like you say, when you're in either storm, you can't be learning healthier habits in the time. You're just kind of just getting through it. So maybe that was also my push to go through it now, when I'm a bit more level-headed kind of thing.
Now, what about friends versus therapist? You will have relied on your friends. Yeah. Friends are always there for you. That's one of their great strengths. You can pick up the phone to a certain core group of friends. Is there a difference between the two? Or has there been a difference for you? Have your friends been your therapists up till now?
I think there's totally a difference. I don't 100% know. I can't say that I can give you a great answer, but I think I have been thinking about it a little bit. And I think there's a big difference in the fact that I think I've got wonderful friends, and then my friends were like incredibly helpful for my breakup. I had a housemate at the time who just was an absolute rock and continues to be a rock in every situation I'm in. But they're great. My friends are all like perfect listeners. But I think you never really have someone that's like fully can relate.
When you fulfill that role for other friends, we've all done it, where you've been there for somebody else, you can give them 100% empathy.
Yep.
And you can be there whenever they need you to listen, but you're kind of a listening post.
100%, and I find that hard because in that situation, when my friends are going through things, I'm dying to be exactly what they need. But I do think, I would give anything to just say exactly what's going to fix you right now. But you can't really. I think most of the time with friends, you just have to be there, the support and the listener. And I think you can. Unless they're going through something that's quite unhealthy and they're not being they're doing things wrong, or they're doing things that are going to harm themselves, then you can be a voice of reason. But if it's general just life things like breakups, you just need to be a listener. And I think I'm not 100% sure because I'm very new to therapy, but I'm hoping that the therapist can just be a really new, really objective listener, which doesn't really have skin in the game, which I'm hoping, I don't know yet, because that's what I'm hoping for, because I'm very new to it, but I'm really hoping I can get to a point where I have someone in my life that is just kind of a bit more impartial. I think I would take on board what they're saying a bit better. I think my friends are listeners and they are helpful and they will say their thoughts, but I think something in my head does reject.
But they're also team you.
Exactly, that's the thing.
So they're always going to go, you're amazing, you're the best, we love you so much, we will always love you, you're incredible, and that's brilliant, and that's what you need. But they're not. A couple of times in the therapy that I had, the therapist suddenly turned the screw a bit and just went a bit harder and a bit deeper, and I was like, I was a bit taken aback. But that's their job.
I think I want
that. And a friend won't do that.
Yeah, and I think also just friends aren't clinically trained, so I'm hoping that there's going to be that element as well, which is going to be helpful. It's interesting. I think the first person I went to, whenever I'd say something, they would just be like, Yes, and they would just listen, but I kind of want to be challenged.
Yeah.
I want you to kind of be like...
I'm putting something on the table.
Yeah, I don't want to
discuss it?
I think what I'm learning about therapy is I think some people just need a space where they can talk freely, whereas I don't need that. I don't like dynamics where I'm overly talking just me. I like to be challenged. I want a dynamic where it's a bit 50-50. So I think that was a bit of a learning curve as well.
Did you do any journaling when you were in the storm of the breakup, as in just writing your thoughts down in a book or a notebook?
I started to. I did a little bit of that. Not as much. I actually did, yeah. I think it was really good because I'm already quite a big overthinker. So my head was running so quickly. Right. So I started writing down just to slow it down a little bit, because you obviously can think quicker than you can write. So I started,
idea.
So it just slowed it down a little bit, which was nice because it was just a bit of relief from the overthinking.
And did you ever read it again, or was it just the process of writing and slowing it down?
I had a journal which I wrote down some thoughts which I haven't read again. I also did some I'm not really a creative writer, but I'd like to be one day. So I actually did some writing around a bit more creatively around. I kind of created a character that wasn't me, put her in situations which were a bit more abstract.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So so
you were kind of drawing on your own experience, but putting it into somebody else in a different life.
Yeah, and I don't think it was good, and I'll never show anyone it. But it was an interesting. I quite found it helpful because I think I was thinking about myself so much that it was nice to create a character. It's like I created a character where she was basically going through life, but she was having kind of like. It was more like magical realism if you read like books like that. It was like...
I think I know what that is. Just explain it in a nutshell.
I think it was kind of like where it's kind of grounded in reality, but there's this kind of magical element to the world. So she'd be going around, and then I think at one point she was in Sainsbury's and her like legs started turning into trees, and the tree trunks were like rooting through the floor, and then like this feeling of like being like so stuck and like motionless, how would that physically manifest? And
it's an interesting image, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And I kind of wrote about how she was stood in the middle of Sainsbury's and people kind of just walking past her, but like she was like physically turning into a tree, which is absurd because obviously like people would stop and look at that, but in this like kind of narrative, it's kind of like drawing on the fact that you can be going through something that feels very physical to you. Like I felt physically sick a lot of the time in my breakup.
Oh blimey, that's hard.
Yeah, it is, and I feel like people get that emotional, but then no one else around you really knows that. So I did a little bit of that, which I thought was quite helpful, and I've read those a bit back, but not loads. I don't often want to go back to that situation. I want my favourite time ever.
It's all grist to the mill though.
Yeah.
You know, having done it once, you know you can try it again and try it again.
Yeah.
You said earlier something about when you were at university having counselling. Now, was that just as general, I just want an MOT, I want to check in?
No, I think...
And be in touch? No,
I think I was struggling at uni a little bit with I think uni's just a stressful time. I don't think I handled the stress very well. Had a lot of other stuff going on in my life as well, so I think I just wanted a bit. I think I did reach out for some help, and unfortunately, I think uni counselling. I think it was also COVID times, so
when everyone was mad.
Exactly. So I was a bit like She was just like, "Have you considered getting out of the house?" And I was like, I should probably do that, but comes a point when going for a walk doesn't solve all your problems, so I kind of didn't. And then I'd see her like once a week, and after a while I would just start lying to her, just make her feel better.
Oh my goodness.
I don't know if this is relatable, but I remember at one point she'd start telling me things and I was just like lying to make her feel better. And I was like, this is probably not this is not healthy.
Blimey. This is a bit like friends of mine who talk about who grew up Catholic and went to confession, old style, and they would just make stuff up but in the confessional because they didn't know what they were supposed to say. I love the fact that you were just like
lying to the counsellor.
But also if you put it into the broader sort of therapy scheme, I wonder how many therapists sit there listening to their clients just going, I don't think you're telling the truth.
It's so true. I wonder if they can see. I bet they can see through you, and you're just like lying to make them feel better. So funny.
So you came out here this evening.
Yeah.
The sun is setting. It's dusk. It's the gloaming. But the space is kind of important for thinking, isn't it?
Oh,
it's different from being in four walls.
Oh yeah, totally. Especially when I work from home today, so there was more the change of scenery. But yeah, it's a great park. love being in the park. So.
And you bought a book and you bought headphones. So were you doing two things at once?
I was. I'm quite bad for that. I'm like,
That's incredible. You can read a book and listen to something.
Yeah, I quite like it actually. To be fair, interesting. I had my headphones. I was listening to music, which was really nice. But I was actually just about to take them off because I do enjoy listening to music while I read. I feel like very locked in. I feel like very outside the world.
But what happens if the music takes you in a different direction? I'm just thinking they could work against each other. Obviously not for you.
I'll try and match the music vibe to the book.
Right.
Which is actually so much fun. I one time had...
It's almost like making a film script or something.
It really enhances it sometimes. I remember I'll normally put on slow music or reading music if the book's a bit more somber. There was one time I was at home during COVID and my sister plays the piano like exceptionally well. And I remember reading a book, I think it was a book called If We Were Villains, and it's like a dark academia book, and it's quite dramatic towards the end. And I shouted to her, and I was like, "Can you play something really dramatic on the piano? I've got a really intense chapter coming up." So I was reading, and she was like, "Got you." She played the most intense piece of music, and it was like, wow, I feel like I've got a backing track, like a movie for my book. It was really cool.
Oh, that is brilliant. Yeah. And also, it sounds like you've got a lovely relationship with your sister.
Oh yeah, I have. She's the best person in the world.
Oh, yeah. Oh my goodness! How many people say that about their sister?
Everyone should. Yeah, everyone should.
I thought one would think that maybe if you chat to that, she'd go, sod off. I'm busy doing something else. Read your book. But actually, she was there for you.
She was.
So how does it work? How does it work so well between you and your sister?
Me, I've got a younger sister and an older brother, and they're both just like absolutely wonderful people. I think I've been thinking about more recently as well a lot. I think because I think it's not a given that you have such well-adjusted, like level-headed, kind siblings. Like life happens and things, everyone dynamic's different, but they're just both very, very, very just normal people, very caring. So they're very easy to get along with. My sister's about 5 years younger than me as well, so there's a bit of like a 7-year age gap between my older brother and younger sister. So we grew up not that close. So I think our relationship's interesting because we weren't that close through childhood, because I was probably with my brother, who was a year and a bit older than me, and she was 5 years when you're a kid is quite a lot. So I went off to uni when she was...
It's a universe, yeah.
It is. So I went off to uni and she was still super young. So I wouldn't say we had a close relationship before we went to uni. And then once she got older, we realised that we're just the same person. So yeah.
That's really amazing. Nice. Yeah, really nice. Also it's really nice that you've grown together, you've grown towards each other rather than grown away, which I've also had people tell me that they've actually grown apart as they've grown older.
Yeah.
It's also interesting you choose that phrase that you're almost kind of like thinking similarly.
Yeah.
How does that work? Is it almost like a twin thing where you can sometimes think the same thought? Is it that kind of thing, or is it just you are very similar?
I don't know. It's hard. I think each of my siblings are... I'd say we're like different in the ways that matter. No, similar in the ways that matter and different in the ways that are interesting. Like we have different hobbies, we have different careers, but we have the same like values in terms of just like being kind to each other. We don't really we're quite reasonable, I think is the main thing. We're very reasonable people. Like no one gets unnecessarily mad at each other or causes arguments. Like I think we're just very reasonable with each other. So I think it just kind of creates a really easy environment when you've got people that are just reasonable.
If you put your friends and their friends and brought them all for a party together, would they all get on, or do you have different kinds of friends?
That's a good question. I never thought about it actually. I think mine and my brother's friends would get along. My brother's friends are all lovely. My sister's, I sometimes go and visit her at uni. Her friends are lovely as well. But they are like 5 years younger than me. So I think I don't ever feel old with my sister until I hang out with her friends.
Oh,
I'm
no.
like, oh, you're all like 21, 22, and I'm like turning 27. I think I like to think of myself and my sister as the same, but we are also 5 years apart. So she is also younger than me. But her friends are lovely, and I do think we'd probably get along well as well, yeah.
So you've been through university, you're in the work world.
Yeah.
What's it like being in your late 20s in London?
It's a good question. What is it like? It's fun. Only been in London about a bit over a year and a half so far. So I moved here start of last year. Actually, it's probably coming on too soon. Which I love. I'm from quite a small town, so there's not much to do. Whereas here, there's just stuff to do all the time.
Where's the small town?
So I'm from the Midlands, a place called Shrewsbury. Grew up in a place called Telford, and then we moved to Shrewsbury not long ago.
Now, is this the town that some people say Shrewsbury and some people say Shrewsbury?
If you're posh, you say Shrewsbury. I think they might say Shrewsbury on some of the trains, but it's probably Shrewsbury. I'd back Shrewsbury.
And what kind of town is Shrewsbury?
It's like a market town. It's quite sweet. So there's a place called Telford, which is close by, which is where I went to school and grew up. And then at uni, I moved to Shrewsbury, which is it's actually a lovely town. I'd say when I lived there, I obviously was gagging to get out, but now it's really funny. My friends laugh at me when I take them home to show them Shrewsbury. I walk around if it's the best fucking place in the world. I'm like, look at this beautiful
so
house.
Proud.
I'm like, this is the best place ever. You guys should, I literally walk, and they're like, you're so patriotic. I'm like, you know what, yeah. I think moving away from your hometown makes you appreciate your hometown a bit more. So I do like it a lot more now I don't live there.
And when you're in London doing the London thing,
yep.
and you're thinking this is fantastic too, what are the great things that you found about London, both unexpected and expected?
What are the good things, without just being too basic about it? I think this is boring, but I like being able to get wherever I want, whenever I want, unless there's tube strikes. In my home, you can't get anywhere unless you have a car, so I like being able to get around.
Oh, so there's that, there's that whole country thing where people are trying to get their driving licence.
Yeah, basically, if you can't drive, you literally can't do anything. I went back home to Shrewsbury, and I got home, and the car hadn't been MOT'd, and it was also not working, so I had to get a taxi for like 25 minutes to my closest supermarket to get food, because there was no food. It was the whole thing, whereas London, you just go wherever you want, and you also just end up in a completely different area in like 40 minutes that feels completely different to where you just were. Like it's also just stuff to do. I'm a person that likes trying a bunch of things. Like if anyone says to me, do you want to do this? Even if I know I'm probably not going to like it, I'll still go along and do it, like a random class or an exhibition or anything. I like that you've always got something new you can do.
And also you've got the energy of youth, in that you can do anything, so. And you're invincible because of your age. I'm saying this as an older person, remembering what it was like to be in my 20s. But is there also not that thing at your age and stage where there's a lot of social action? There's always someone saying, come out, do this, we're doing this.
Yeah.
It's kind of there all the time.
It is.
If you want it.
Yeah.
Every day of the week, somebody's doing something that you know.
Yeah, exactly. Which I think is amazing. It shows how much passion this generation have to experience new things and support other people. I think maybe we get a bad rep, but there's so much passion around my generation to support other people. But also it can be, I think, on an individual level, overwhelming, the amount there is to do.
It's interesting you say you're backing your peer group, you're backing your age group and saying we're a good lot.
We're passionate, yeah, I think.
Why did you choose the word passionate?
Well, I think you can see the passion, I think, with people. I think if you go to like rallies and see what things people are doing or the art people are creating or just like the passion people have for hanging out with their friends, I think we're not really afraid to kind of shout about our emotions. As a whole, this is probably maybe my own experience, which maybe we're not all, and that's maybe a London thing. But
you've got to start with a generalisation, and also, there's truth in it too. Do you think you're a generation which is politically passionate, or is more passionate about the things that matter in their own individual lives?
I think you probably get a bit of both, and I think you get both, and it changes between people, even within friendship groups. I think our generation is very political, especially in London, which I think is amazing. I think I'm not as political as I would like to be. I find it quite overwhelming. I find I'm very passionate about like the environment, but I get very easily overwhelmed by that. So I think the difficult thing in London is finding a balance between things that are you're passionate on an individual level and also a social level. It's quite difficult to juggle those things. I'm not sure who's got it right. If anyone has any answers, we would love to hear them. I always feel like I could be doing more. Yeah, please let me know. I'm sure there's a book on it somewhere that I could read. But
you've used overthinking a couple of times. Now, what does that mean? What's your understanding of overthinking? For people who are listening and who have not thought about this or don't know what the expression is or have their own version of it, what to you is overthinking?
I think the thing that I personally struggle with a lot, I think, is I'll overanalyze the situations that I've been in and can be in, and all the situations that I could find myself in, I'll go through and imagine all those possible outcomes.
Oh, that's interesting. And very complex.
Yes, it's difficult. And I also think, so I'll overanalyze the different outcomes of a situation. Maybe to have, I don't feel like I don't have the desire to be in control of them, but I'll just think them through. And I'm also very overcritical of myself. So when I'm overthinking, generally it's internal. It's not about anyone else. It's normally about myself, about things I could improve, in quite a negative sense, which I think is why that I don't say overthinking in a positive way, really.
Right. So for you, it's a negative. It's a bit of a drag, a bit of a barrier.
It's a bit exhausting, really. I think it's more like, I don't think it stops me in day-to-day life. I think I'd say I'm quite an outgoing person. I'm quite sociable. I love doing new things. I just think in every situation I'm in, I have a tendency to be over negative internally. So it's kind of like constantly fighting through quite negative thoughts.
If you're aware of it, does that mean you get better at reducing it or putting it in a box and say, you just stay in that corner there, I know what you're doing, I don't need you? Or is it not that easy?
I don't think it's that easy, and that's, I think, one thing that, I don't think it's that easy, and I'm not sure the answer. I think the problem is, with most situations, the thing that I'm trying to figure out at the moment is, how does understanding your emotions help to actually alleviate like the symptoms of that? Like, if I can root through my brain and my childhood to figure out why I'm acting the way that I'm acting, and once I reach a conclusion which I think is potentially accurate, that doesn't then make the feelings go away. So what is that next step? How does understanding yourself actually help if you still feel like the emotion? But I guess that's the question.
Yeah, it's one of those things that, is there actually an end point? Because I'm assuming, the way you talk about it, I'm assuming that you would like to reduce the overthinking. That would be an ideal scenario. And you think that maybe you might at some point get to a point where you've got some tools to do that?
I think so, but I think I've come to a point where I've realised that the way my thought process has, if I've thought about it, which I have,
in an overthinking
which I have
way
done
and
that
a thinking
a
way.
lot. If I've thought about how I think, which is outrageous, it's been the same throughout my whole life. So I think I'm less trying to change the way I think, because I think I will always overthink. I think I just want it to be a bit less negative. I think I want to switch up, maybe be a bit kinder on myself. Is my kind of more short-term goal.
Is there a way that you reckon you can be at peace with it, so it actually doesn't change, but you no longer worry about it? Is that one of your goals?
Yeah, I think so. That would be great.
Because if it is you, then it's you.
Yeah, I think there's gonna be an element of acceptance, I think, in whatever journey I'm about to try and go on. So I think there's gonna be I need to accept part of myself, but also I think everyone can work at themselves, and I don't think I need to accept every part of myself. I think there's some parts that could be a bit healthier. I think I could be a bit more positive towards myself, and that's what I'm going to look to do.
You don't sound like a negative person. You sound like a very positive person.
Yeah,
just in in the conversation that we've had.
I think I've got a lot. I think I am very privileged. I've got a lot in my life that I can recognise and be very happy about, and I think I recognise those. I'm very privileged to live where I live, next to this lovely park in East London. I have lovely family, so I think it's not lost on me that I've got the things that I've got. So I try and be positive about those things.
That's nice. It's nice. It's nice to acknowledge those little simple things.
Mm-hmm.
And
which do mean a lot. They're like, it's not, if those aren't a given for everyone. Like, having a lovely family is not given to anyone. So there's a lot to be happy about, I think.
I was talking to someone for the podcast recently, and she ended by saying, life is good. I've got food, I've got water, I've got shelter. She went down to the basic things, which you kind of wouldn't think in the life that we lead in London. But she was like, those things are important, and to remember that those things are important. Going back to the start, I'm very conscious of the fact it's actually getting dark, so you probably want to get home. Going back to the start of the conversation, and when I came up to you at the bench, you were reading and you were listening to music. Yeah. Would you have been able to do that when you were in the storm of the after breakup, or is this something to celebrate, the fact that you could just relax in a park and read a book because your brain's not just going to go crazy on you?
Definitely, I think. Yeah, I think when you're in like when you're in a very stressful place, I found the overthinking was so overwhelming that I couldn't really do anything. Like I found music really hard to listen to.
Yes, totally. I know exactly what you mean.
I just didn't listen to music for and it sounds so sad when I said that to people, that I was so sad that I didn't listen to music because nothing felt like okay. And then, at the moment it's so nice to just enjoy things for what they are, and it's much simpler. I think when you're not in a very heightened state of emotion, simple things don't feel simple. So it's nice to go back. Like maybe it's nice to appreciate those basic things, reading a book without being influenced by anything else. But yeah, it is definitely something to celebrate actually, which I probably wasn't celebrating. So nice to point it out.
I think we're very hard on ourselves. I think it's very difficult for us sometimes to celebrate those small victories because we don't even see them or feel them.
Yeah, very true.
But even the fact that you not only sort of a reading book on the park bench, but the fact that also you're doing the therapy kind of is that whole process of getting control of what's going on and going, I'm doing something about this. I have agency.
Yes, I think that is definitely a big motivator. I don't want to look back at I'm living a life that's on paper is absolutely wonderful, and I feel like sometimes I still have a tendency to look negatively on myself, and I've had this motivation really is I don't want to look back on my 20s and be like, I just was worrying too much. I feel like the hindsight you get as you age, like if you could put in a bottle that hindsight and give it to me now, I think we'd all be so much happier. But I think people tend to get older and be like, I wish I knew this when I was younger. But it's almost a curse that we gain that insight through experience, because then you have the tools. I feel like future me has the tools that I need right now. So I'm just trying to do my best to figure out how I don't look back and regret that I wasn't enjoying myself as much as I could have been because I was just being a bit too negative. So yeah.
So you're putting a positive future ahead, and you're like, what I'm doing now is important for the future as well as the present.
I hope so. Yeah. I want to look back and think I wasn't ruining my own day for no reason. I want to look back and be like, I had so much fun. I was so carefree, and that's the version I want to be. And I think I've just realised that I need to do a bit of work to get to that place, so I'm doing it.